Hi to everyone. Today I'm gonna explain you about wsdl. This is a day one. From day one onwards, I will explain you about some important topics regarding SOA. And the one of the topics that was important for SOA is wsdl. Here in wsdl, first of all, we had to start what does it contains and how many types of visuals are there and what are there inside, what is the code inside. These three things will be discussed in this class. First thing is we will discuss what is meant by visual. Second thing is I will discuss about the types of visual, and third thing is what does the code it contain. Three things will be covered in this class, and please concentrate on the class, and you will definitely get one question in the interview directly, and you can easily answer to the question if you watch this video very carefully. So straight away I will start what is meant by visual. Visual means web service description language. So what is meant by web service? First of all, what is meant by service? Service means if at all you want to get some order in an restaurant, immediately what he do? The boy waiter will serve us the food if we ordered something. Similarly, in the web services, if we want something to hit, means some information we want from web, then we will hit the that web service and get the information. Similarly, here, if at all we have some web services, means we are providing the some service to other. That is nothing but how our data will look like. That whole thing will be described in web web service descripting language. Nothing but we can call it as visual. Means simply we can simply say that if at all you go to the restaurant, you ask the parent what are the things that are there, you will show the waiter will show these are the things that are there what you want. Immediately we will say something and get that orders. Similarly, visual is a thing that it will show all the order that you want, nothing but it will show what the customer want. Okay. And next thing, the what does it contain? What does visual contain? It contains what are the things that data definition, what are the things that it have, and the second thing it have is operation details. What are the operation? What will be the input? What will be the output? If at all input is the does not match, means if the waiter you ask for something else which is not there in the restaurant, then he will give some response, other response. Similarly, if the input is wrong here, it will give you a fault. Okay, those things will be there. And third point, what it contains means transport protocol details, whether it is an HTTP uh, transport or SOAP or HTTP transport protocol. I will discuss with a clear explanation about this transport protocol. Now you won't understand if I say about those things, and others also the URL what it contains. Okay, I will just mainly concentrate at the initial state about the abstract visual only, not the remaining things. Why? Because concrete visual will be learned in later sessions only. You can't learn by simply directly. So the first thing what the visual content is data definition. How the data will be, means the menu card when you enter to the restaurant. That thing, those things will be defined, and input what you want to give, and what the output and those operation details will be explained in visual. And transport protocol, how data will come, and then address URL, nothing but so This is all about what is meant by WSDL and what does it contain. And the next second thing is uh, what does how many types of WSDLs do you see? Absolutely, there are two types of WSDL. Remember this, there are two types of WSDL. First one is abstract WSDL and second one is concrete WSDL. And in interviews, you might see this question: what is the main difference between abstract WSDL and concrete WSDL? Simply, directly, you can say the main difference between the abstract WSDL and concrete WSDL is binding on services will be present in WSDL, whereas in abstract WSDL you cannot find binding and services. The common things that are present in WSDL and abstract WSDL is types, message, and port type. Okay, these type block and message block and port type will be present both in abstract and concrete WSDL, whereas you cannot find binding and services in abstract WSDL. That was the main difference, and straightforward answer for that type is you have to give this answer. And next, what is the code inside the WSDL? Okay, remember this thing: abstract WSDL consists type code, sorry, type block and message port block, and I will discuss these things in this class only. Okay, and what does the code contain? Obviously, the WSDL start with instruction, nothing but processing instruction. This instruction, you see this, every XML family will start with this process instruction, and the root element for WSDL is definition, and in this definition the entire types and message block and port types will be defined. So how many types blocks can be defined inside a definition? That was the question, interview question that was asked. You can define as many as you want, first thing, and the second thing is how many schemas. That means in type block there will be a schema block. You can define number of schemas in n type blocks, no problem for that. N number of schemas you can define in type blocks. Same as you can define in definition number of type blocks. Similarly, you can define schema in type block. Okay, what does the schema contain? I already previously said that schema will contain the data that are nothing but a data definition. What is an element? For suppose if you given for suppose employee details. Employee details means what does it contain? Employee name, employee number, employee salary. Those things will be defined in this schema here. If the data is defined, this is the most important question. Just remember this. If the data is defined inside the schema, then we call it inline schema. If it is externally somewhere another in another place, it is defined, then it is called as external schema. Those are the two types of schemas that are present that may ask in interviews maybe. And this is the schema block. Just close this, and after type block you will see the next block will come message block. Okay, message block we can simply say that alias name of schema, means if you define some name to schema, means I already said that employee name, sorry, employee details. Previously what I just say that about in schema we define some details about employees. So we can define the alias name here, means here we give employee details, Here you can give some name, user defined here, and after this import in message block only, we had to give the port name and element that was previously defined. Okay, this was the message block. I will clearly explain in upcoming classes what this entire thing and what might be the errors that may you issued here during the writing this visual, and you had to be sure that what are the errors you come in visual. Why? Because this is a basic thing that an interviewer see what is the errors you see in visual, and what are the types of visual, what are the types of schemas, and what can be replaced, what may not replace. Those things had to be, you must learn in this visual concept. Okay, and after the message block is over, just close the message block. Okay, after closing this message block, you will see a port type. Okay, port type. In port type, you had to mention first of all the name of the port type, some user defined. After that, in port type, you had to define the number of operation in an your service. For suppose addition, for suppose example, addition subtraction was the operation there in your service. Then you had to define those operation. Okay, operation operation name, and in operation you had to define input, input message name. What are the inputs? As I said earlier, what are the things you required in restaurant? Similarly, these are the things what you want output. User define, you can define as you can. Actually, this output message and input messages was defined in XSD, and be sure that it will be matched as per given, and also you had to define these fault types in this only. Fault name, and I will clearly explain how many faults can you given here. You can give number of faults, but the minimum mandatory thing is one input, and output be used and may or may not. And there is another question: how many port types can use in NVIDIA? Simply, you can simply say that we can use maximum of two port types. That is for asynchronous process. I will say what is the main difference between synchronous asynchronous in next upcoming classes. But if at all they asked how many port types can you maximum define in an visual, you had to say only two types. Okay, two port types. First port type is for input and output. If at all it is, if there is only input and there will be a callback, callback will be carried out in another port type. That had to be explained by you if they asked about how many port types can you define. Okay, operations you can define multiple, no problem. Just close this operation. Operation After operation, I said, if it is the whistle is asynchronous, then you have to define another port type. If it is synchronous, you have to define only one port type. And these are the things that you will observe in abstract whistle, whereas in concrete whistle, you will see the bindings and services. And that's it about visual. I can catch you in the next class. What are the codes and what are the errors that you will get if anything we modified in this visual? And thank you for watching this video. Just click like if you like that, and I will definitely say that what are the interview questions and what are the things that will come in an interview. I will definitely explain everything. Just follow the video regularly. That's it. Thank you.